I'm Louise Anton and I've got a Morning Melodies show coming up at Mandurah Performing Arts Centre, Tuesday the 21st of September. Oh, nearly got the date wrong. Don't you get the date wrong. It's been such a strange time, hasn't it? But as you said, in WA we've been really quite lucky thus far. We'll just see how that goes. But for myself, I know when COVID first really kicked in and everybody was ordered to work from home and things like that, it was a really interesting time. Obviously, I couldn't do live shows, which was very difficult to get my head around because I love performing live. But I was fortunate enough to be eligible for JobKeeper. So what I decided to do was reevaluate and restructure the kind of shows that I was doing and put together new photos, new marketing, try and use that time to still be productive and improve on the shows that I was doing and, yeah, just restructure really. And that time really worked for me. So it made me, I don't know, reevaluate what I was doing, I guess, some of the regular gigs and just hone in, yeah, and just become a bit more specialised. So it's been tough, and it's also meant that I haven't been able to go to the East Coast to do shows, which I was supposed to be doing in this time, but hopefully that'll come when we open up. Yeah, won't forget it. It was at a high school concert, but can I just backtrack a tiny bit? Because the year before that, I actually did an audition for one of the high school musicals and I just froze. My voice wouldn't work. I got so nervous. I think I started crying. I felt sick. It was the worst audition ever. And I went home and I was so mortified that I thought, if ever I go on stage again or if ever I audition, I never want that to happen ever again. Thankfully, a year later, I got into the school concert and performed on the piano and sang a solo of, I don't know if you remember Leo Sayers' Have You Ever Been in Love? That song. And from then, I knew that that's what I wanted to do because I was able to control my nerves, my voice came out, I was able to play, and I just loved that feeling of being on stage. Oh, definitely. My mum was a classical singer and piano player. And in her 20s, well, I wasn't around then, but in her 20s, she sang on ABC radio. So she would do performances and Dad would drive her to, you know, ABC station and she always sang in church choirs and also an a cappella women's group. So my mum was singing all throughout her life until she was 76, I think, actually. So that's where that influence came from. She made me learn the piano, which I didn't really want to do. I mean, I loved the instrument, but I just didn't want to be doing the scales and practicing and all of that. So. Well, I'm not sure I really did cope with it that well, because being 18 and having a TV show, you know, thrust upon you to present it. I mean, I sound woe is me. It was an amazing experience. And of course, I grabbed it with both hands because, you know, it was just such a wonderful opportunity and to be working for Channel 9. But I remember I was also studying media studies at WAPA at the time under the wonderful David Hawkes. And he didn't think I was quite ready. So I thought, well, I'll show you that I'm ready. But I learnt a lot and I really enjoyed it. I think at the end of that time, 3.5 years of hosting the show, I really wanted to spread my wings and go to Sydney and just sort of carve my niche as a musician. Because I think because I went into the TV thing, which was great, I really enjoyed it. And as I said, gave me so many experiences that I just really wanted to go back to my roots, if you like, and just work as a singer and a musician. So that's what I did. That's why I went to Sydney and, yeah, and started to carve my niche as a professional muso over there. Well, maybe. And that was something that later on I thought, oh, did I leave Perth too soon? Did I, you know, cut off my nose to spite my face? Is that saying? Should I have stayed around? But I remember at the time as well, Channel 9 was going through, and actually all of the major TV networks here were going through a restructure and really getting rid of local production, because through the 70s and 80s, and this was late 80s, there was a lot of local shows being made in Perth, but then towards the end of that, things were being made, of course, on the East Coast, and local productions was starting to be, stopped here, unfortunately. So that was one of the things that was happening at that time. So I thought it was sort of a natural end, go to the big smoke and see what I could do over there for a singing career over there. That was really great. I remember getting the job as a backing vocalist on the actual TV show. So I was there when Guy Sebastian was doing his Climb Every Mountain, like the big songs and everything in the finals. And then they decided to tour the Australian Idol show, and it was incredible because we played in all the big entertainment centres in all the cities around Australia, and we had audiences of 10,000 screaming kids every night. But I was, because I wasn't as a contestant on the show, I was singing backing vocals with the band, and I was also the touring vocal coach. So I had to try and keep them in line, like Guy Sebastian. You didn't have to keep him in line. He was, such a lovely young chap anyway. But the likes of Shannon Knoll and Millsy and Ricky Lee, and we also had our very own Courtney Murphy in the next year, which was Anthony Collier and Courtney Murphy and Casey Donovan. So it was just such a wonderful experience, and having, all these screaming kids. And I remember actually after one of the shows, the band was all in this bus, and we came back to the hotel and we could see all these kids like screaming, going, it's the Idols, it's the Idols. And the door opened and the band came out, and one of them just went, it's just the band. Oh, and then there was no one. Poor band, But anyway, it was just such an amazing time with John Foreman was the musical director, who was amazing putting all the music together. Yeah, it was amazing actually, because I hadn't done shows on that scale personally myself, like in the big, arena, the big entertainment centre sort of thing with 10,000 people there. So, it was just incredible. I loved it. Just that experience. Of course, you'd love to be up the front yourself, but the band were all friends of mine from Sydney, great musicians, and we didn't have all the pressure on us. So, we had to perform every night and come up with, great musical backings for everybody and things. And it was a bit difficult at times when the Idols were partying at night, and then I was the one that had to say, right, everyone, get to bed now. They're adults, they're not, 11 and 12, they're adults. But there was that thing of, come on, rein them in. And then the next day, if anybody had vocal troubles, I had to try and help them through that with certain exercises and things. And, if anyone had been partying too hard, they certainly knew about it the next day. And they learnt from that though too. So, yeah, it was a great time though. I really enjoyed it. that's hard. And I guess that's a good problem to have if I kind of look back and I think, oh, that was great. Oh, that was great. No. But then some things that wasn't so great. Okay, I'll pick one, and because personally, creatively, artistically, it brought everything together for me, and that was opening for Dionne Warwick at the Opera House. And I got that gig through Burt Bacharach, actually. I had met him at a show that I was doing in Sydney, and he put me forward to do the opening for Dion. And it was just me at a 9-foot Steinway Grand in the middle of the Opera House stage. And they said, we don't care what you do whatever you like, you've got an hour. So I just did all original material from this one album that I've recorded. And it was just the most beautiful experience I've ever had on stage. I loved it. I felt like it was the coming together of everything, and I'd love to recreate that one day. Oh, that's a good one too, because I've been so fortunate to work with some amazing people. But I really need to say Vander, who people might know as producer, songwriter extraordinaire, one half of Vander and Young. They wrote Lovers in the Air, Friday on My Mind, all these great songs. But I worked with Vander for 6 years. He mentored me as a songwriter. I was signed with his recording label, and he just gave me the most fantastic nurturing and mentoring in a songwriter kind of way. So it's Vander for me. Bagpipes? No, not really bagpipes. No, I know guitar, for sure, acoustic guitar, because when you're used to playing such a big, beautiful instrument like this, I know I could play a keyboard and that's transportable, but I just love that, sitting around the campfire, playing a guitar kind of thing. Yeah, I'd love to play acoustic guitar. I do have a favourite song. Well, can I pick two? Because one is Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah. And the reason is because I play it at mostly every show that I do. And it just brings everybody together. Even if they don't know the song, which I think everybody in the world probably does, but you only need to know one word, and it just creates the most beautiful atmosphere in a room of bringing people together. And another one, just personally, because I wrote it about my mum, and it's a song called My Best Girl. And that's because when I was away in Sydney, Mum would always say on the phone to me, "You're my best girl, you're my best girl." And I moved back to Perth and was looking after her. She had dementia, and she would just keep saying it. And I thought, I've got to write a song called My Best Girl. So that's my favourite as a personal thing. You think I wouldn't at this age and all of the things that I've experienced, but yeah, I'd love to release another solo album. I've only ever had one album, that was with Vander, and I'd love to, because I've been recording quite a bit actually throughout this COVID time. Yeah, I'd like to release another album. That's a great question. I think first and foremost, the facility at Mandurah Performing Arts Centre is so great and so professionally run. And I think one of the things that I've really noticed, especially since moving to Mandurah from Perth, is that Mandurah Performing Arts really caters to such a broad range of ages in the community. So it could be school holidays and there's things for the kids, to morning melodies, which I perform at and will be performing at. Morning melodies shows for the older people, or whoever wants to come along and have a cup of tea and a sausage roll or whatever. Then there are shows like the Perth Symphony Orchestra and tribute shows. So for me, I love the whole variety of performances that are on at the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre. I think it's really, really important culturally for people to get together. Hopefully to be entertained, to go away feeling good, really. It's a feel-good show. I'm a little bit funny in it, if I do say so myself. I'm a bit bumbly in it. I tell a lot of stories. I get everyone singing along. If anybody wants to have a little dance in the aisles, they're more than welcome. They won't get a rock and roll show, they'll just get a beautiful feel-good show and hopefully some reminiscing. And everybody will know just about all of the songs. I've got a couple of original songs in there, but I definitely tell stories so people can relate to what the song's about when they're listening to it. So hopefully everybody goes away feeling good.